it is a very, very big privilege for Filme Shilmy to be in conversation with two wonderful filmmakers, one of whom is needs no introduction, and we were very fortunate to have him as well earlier for Uchai, and now we have Sooraj Barjatya ji again. So thank you so much, Sooraj ji, for joining us, and Palash, a warm welcome to you, and it's so great to have you on Filme Shilmy.
Same, same. I'm so
Okay,
happy to be.
now, Surajji, I remember a few years ago, you produced a film called Isi Life Mein, where you had two new faces. And now when I look at this new series that's coming on SonyLIV, Bada Naam Karenge, you also have two fresh faces, and I think it's very fascinating because I think we were all at the back of our minds was wondering कि अगर सूरज जी OTT debut करेंगे तो कैसे करेंगे. So what was the main deciding factor for you to really go ahead with this project and the faces you've launched in particular?
So essentially, the credit goes to SonyLIV, who called me one day and said that on our OTT platform, we would like a Rajshri show. We would like a family show. So I
Okay.
was taken by surprise because generally people say OTT belongs to crime and action and thrills, which could be true. But they said, no, we want a Rajshri show and we want to broaden the horizon, the extent of the family show to the Hum Saath Saath, to the Viva world, and get a show which can be seen on a big screen by the full family together. The pitch was straight on there, and I was very privileged that someone wants it right with its full ethos and purity.
Mm,
And so that's fortunately we had a story about a boy and a girl who come from small town. They want to make the family proud. They want to take. They're simple people. Boy ka Mishtan Bhandar hai Ratlam mein. He wants to take it to Bombay and then take the franchise to Dubai. He's eating up his Tauji's father's head with ideas. They say, "Yaar, tu unse baat kar, mere se mat baat kar." And
mm,
the girl wants to come and make to something microbiology. Her mother is very scared. क्या हो जाएगा बम्बई में?
mm,
ऑटो में मत बैठना 6 बजे के बाद.
mm,
First day she realizes she has to sit every day in auto 6 o'clock. So
mm,
she's okay to lie to her mother, I've reached, because I don't want her to keep awake all night. So
mm,
a boy and a girl from small town, they meet in Bombay. They have problems fitting in here, and
mm,
also to where they belong. A
mm,
boy, you cannot do Ekadashi you can't go to Hanuman Mandir 6 baje every Saturday. It's just not practical to be. So how they fall in love and how they balance both the worlds, that is what the story was. So when Palash came on board with his experience of Gullak and this world, then finally we handed over the project to him, and he was correct. And we both thought that इसमें भोलापन बहुत जरूरी है. So
mm,
a boy girl should be fresh, so that we are able to tell a story through the eyes about हाँ कुछ झूठ बोला, कुछ गिल्ट हुआ, if I कुछ छुपा भी रहे हैं, कुछ सच भी बोल रहे हैं, they should not worry. So for that Bolapan, and the credit goes to him when he sat with the casting people and he selected this boy and girl after so many auditions. And then of course finally it is the director's baby, and then he
mm.
took the children ahead. So I think that is how it all started.
Very beautifully said. And I think Palash, I think Good Luck is known for kind of its humor, but then also its societal sort of lens as well. It's very realistic. And of course, Surajji's films, of course, have always had emotions which are of course rooted in humanity, and of course in terms of different societal and financial sort of stratas as well. But I think there's a certain aura that I feel like Rajshri production contents have. I so many times I've heard that जब राजश्री के कोई फिल्म देखने जाओ तो ऐसा मन करता है कि हम चप्पल उतार के देखने जाए. That's how pure the feelings are. So for you, to match up to that vision as well, what would you say was some of the greatest challenges for you?
Greatest challenges for me, if I would say, uh, see, challenge से ज़्यादा ना, it was little overwhelming. जब मैं आपको अगर if I can give you an example, when I first met Sir and Sir called me because he saw Good Luck and he loved it. Sir called me, and then sitting with someone and he's explaining his story to me कि हमारा show है.
And for me to just be at that moment, because sir have been an idol for me since my childhood days, and he's one of the few directors who I have followed, and I have been to theaters like many times to watch their films. और जिसको जिनका काम देख के जिनको देख के यू आर इनटू दिस यू आर इन फिल्म मेकिंग फील्ड. तो कहीं ना कहीं मतलब ही इज एन टीचर. मैं वही बोलता हूँ कि सर आप गुरु हैं जिनको देख के हमने सीखा है. I don't belong to any film school, so I was an engineer and I was doing something else, and then so it is a journey that I have taken, that I want to tell stories, and finally I found out I want to be in direction. But सर का उसमें बहुत बड़ा हाथ रहा है, सर की फिल्मों का बहुत बड़ा हाथ रहा है. तो first of all it was a very overwhelming experience, and at the same time it was very gratifying also, because sir gave me complete freedom to ये कहानी है. Now you put your own lens to it, और किस तरीके से. ऑफ कोर्स सर वाज देयर थ्रू आउट टू गाइड मी कि क्या करना है. और राजश्री का बट इट्स अ बिग रिस्पांसिबिलिटी आई वुड से, बिकॉज राजश्री की फिल्मों का एक ऑरा है, एज यू करेक्टली से. एंड सो इट हैज टू मैच अप टू दोज visuals that you have seen in Rajshri's film, those emotional range that you have seen in Rajshri's film, and at the same time it has to be rooted. And even if you see my previous work, the stories I connect to or I want to tell has to be relatable, and it is a very important factor for me. It has to be relatable. So यहाँ पे I got that what a thread. So I can इस कहानी को लेके इस सू को पकड़ के I can be relatable to the audience, because this story is relating to me. It is me only. ऋषभ है, अगर we all have come from small towns. We are trying to, and it has been 17 years for me in Bombay. But there is this aspect that since last 17 years, I'm still trying to fit in. And Bombay is my home. I call it my home, and it is my home. But वो फिट इन वाला कहीं ना कहीं है. और छोटे शहरों से you have come here, you are not completely Bombay का, और छोटा शहर भी is left behind. तब even if you go to Raipur, वहाँ भी एक फील आता है कि अरे I am not from Raipur also. तो our generation and people who are traveling for work are somewhere in the middle. So can this story be a true representation of those people, their ambitions, and also जो उनका प्यार है, जो उनका love है, their first love का feeling. So I tried to do that, and sir gave me full freedom कि यार इस तरीके से पलाश का कोई बात नहीं, don't follow any traditional formulas, just be yourself and just do it. And मैं हूँ देखने के लिए. और I'll give you a very small example. When we used to be on set और सब पीछे से आके सब देखते थे, तो never once he told me that why you are framing it this way, or why the actor is performing this way. And I used to भी थोड़ा सा जाके मैं सर को बोलता कि सर see I have put on ये वाला frame है, and ये इसलिए ऐसा हो रहा है. तो सर used to say I totally completely trust you, do it. It is don't think you do it. मैं बस I'm just observing. So that is a sort of validation and trust you need as a director from your showrunner, from your producer कि मतलब इतना trust है. तो then फिर तो it became very easy for me, more than challenges. It was a very gratifying experience.
But Palash, sir, what you're saying is definitely something I've heard from a lot of other fellow colleagues and other actor interviews when I've done them. For example, with Salman Khan, when I interviewed him, we spoke about Antim. The topic was Antim, and we ended up spending most of our time just speaking about Surajji and how fond he is of Prem. Like, I cannot tell you, that conversation was just changed everything for me, because it was so beautiful to hear. And I think, Surajji, I think in one of the interviews that we did earlier for Uchai, we spoke about Prem and the male characters that you have and the gentleness that you bring. Because it was a very big speed breaker from seeing the action, hot-headed, sort of heroes, especially back in the 90s, if we look.
Yeah.
Um, so I think for you, do you always feel that, when you have the characters, especially the lead ones, do you feel like it's a reflection of yourself and the sort of upbringing that you've had, in your family and growing up?
Yeah, absolutely. All the characters that I may put into my film are either something I've lived or I've felt or I wanted to be. And I've grown up in a joint family. When I was young, I have a tauji, I have a father, I have a chacha. I did not know till I was in second standard who my dad was, because you don't really know. One is babuji, one is you really don't know who's your father, because you have love from so I the prem that I've sketched out, which has come as a part of me. Of course, then credit goes to Salman Bhai for giving it his entertaining, his naughty self to it. I write straight and then he puts it. That's how he was. This is a family boy who can lie a little, who can fun, जिसके जिसके मन में ना बहुत बहुत गुस्सा नहीं है, जो पढ़ते नहीं है ज्यादा, who loves a good lazy Sunday, gets up, मतलब he will do what parents say, he will fall in love. So he's the ideal boy that time in the 90s, which was looked up to. So over the years, it has just grown, and we grown. So it's an extension of both of us. And somehow I find even after so many years, people are remembering. When people tell me they remember these films 30, 35, 40 years. So sometimes I sit back and think, which other director films are so known and seen so often on television. So when I spoke to Palash about Bada Naam Karenge, I said कि ये ऋषभ है, एक ऋषभ कुछ करना चाहता है जिंदगी में. He's not here to just party, and he's definitely, Palash, not a boy who'll ever यार बार बार बोर करते हैं father. या I said, Palash, he बाप से ना डरे थोड़ा. I was fearing as a director, he may say, नहीं, this is not the world, आजकल कुछ नहीं करता. But I just felt Palash saying, हाँ, ये ऐसे ही होता है. इसे रायपुर में ऐसे ही होता है. And he totally said कि भारत में तो ऐसे ही होता है आज भी. And I said, that is it, Palash. So what Palash has brought to Bada Naam Karenge, Rishabh, is a prem, but it is in a very fresh manner.
Correct. Yeah.
घबराता है, झूठ बोल रहा है. So I would say my prems are a little more not standard, but a little too good, for which sometimes I get a little flack कि ऐसे तो होते नहीं है. Especially I see a lot of girls complaining that my mummy is yet waiting for a prem to come in my life, and I keep telling her that ऐसे हो. I keep that's okay. But what Palash has done, he has made a boy which is much more relatable.
Correct. Yeah.
I think, but yet credit to him, he has kept the Rajshri boy very much alive.
Yeah, no, that's very true. But I think on a final note, this Surajji, I mean, obviously from working with, because obviously at that time, Salman sir was also at the cusp of breaking through. Of course, I mean, Maine Pyar Kiya was a big game changer for him. But at the same time, you've also worked with, like I mentioned, Akshay as well. Even Sonu Sood in Ek Viva Aisa Bhi. You also worked with Shahid in Viva. So you've always had this knack of working with fresher talents anyway. And I think we're in such a good time where we've got Ayushman, we've got Kartik Aaryan, we've got Rajkumar Rao type of actors who actually have that depth and ability to really become the sort of prem-like ideals, and portray that on screen so beautifully. So I think for you, in terms of not just Bada Naam Karenge, of course, but in future projects as well, what would you say you're most looking forward to in working with new, fresher talents? Let's just say, I don't know, like Ayushman, maybe, I don't know. And how do you think that will really transpire and present a very fresh side to you, but yet a very familiar template as well that we all love?
Yeah. See, today where I stand at the age of 59, after having worked for 35, 40 years, honestly, I now want to tell stories free from, first day collection, weekend. All my life, honestly, I've had this this expectation of having the biggest song item, kitne dancers honge. I mean, that's how one has been groomed. You have a success, then isse bada kya, अच्छा कौन सा गाना एक item होना चाहिए. That's why big sets. But today I want to make stories which are much more personal, so that I'm free from these expectations of monies and other things. So yes, I have a lot of stories to tell, but I would say that whoever fits in instinctively to me, I think that would be the choice. Of course, if you given a choice, I would make with Salman by all my life, all films. But there are certain, now the age is a very big factor with all of us, because certain subjects have to fit into a certain age. We know Salman Bhai cannot play Rishabh in Bada Naam Karenge because he will just not fit in. In fact, I cannot direct what Palash has done. If I today I saw the first episode, I was watching, it was so beautiful what he's done. But yes, I would not have been able to do it.
Yeah.
Because हर उम्र के साथ एक अलग अलग ग्रोथ होती है, पीछे चीजें छूट जाती. Today if I were to make मैंने प्यार किया again, I cannot, because I'm not thinking like that. So Sooraj has to accept that young makers like Palash need to come to Rajshri, take it beyond Sooraj, take it into bigger horizons. So I think Uchai gave me a lot of freedom to do what I want.
And it's wonderful to hear that because even like Samir, like we got Palash is such a good filmmaker, and you've also got like Samir Vidwans who made Satyaprem Ki Katha, which resembled a Rajshri film so much, despite the sort of subject that it was a very sensitive topic. And
Yeah.
I think you're so right, Suraji. And I think, but the thing is, Suraji, when you say that about thinking about first day collections, मेरे को बहुत surprising लगती है ये बात, honestly, because I feel like you've never really been concerned about that, even in such a big scale film like Hum Saath Saath Hai. It never even once occurred to me that box office would be something that really really concerns you, and the fact that you've mentioned this was very fascinating for me. So at this time when obviously box office collections, I mean, I don't know what is happening in the industry right now and what sort of content we're seeing, but at this sort of uncertain time as well, I think it's even more paramount importance we see more Rajshri films as well. So please, Suraji, can you please like make sure you make more films because we desperately, desperately need it.
No, no, thank you so much. And see, I have not kept in mind first day collections ever, but when the budgets, when the director Suraj goes down, the producer comes in. When I see the budget I've spent, then I feel liable. हाँ उतना वापस होना चाहिए. That's when the money comes in. Now I want to get free of it. I want to make it at costs where I don't have to have the luxury that I should not be able to lose.
Hmm.
So that is what. But now there is so much scope. For example, we do films, we do television now with our step at OTT on SonyLIV. There's
Hmm.
so much of freedom to make this kind of content. It gives me so much hope that there is so much more to tell, so many more areas, especially with OTT, because there are some stories that cannot be made into 2.5.
True.
There is they are themselves saying कि हमें और कहो.
Hmm.
That's where this Bada Naam Karenge fits in so well. That and that whole, I'm looking forward to this show, to for Palash this world to come out. And my greatest dream would be that bade screen pe grandson saying ki grandfather Dadaji, I want to show you something. Let's see it. And I would be the most happy if he is to subscribe to Sony Live to see Bada Naam Karenge.
Yeah,
That would
no.
be.
Yeah, I think every time you ventured as well onto a new sort of space, like you had Pyar Kar Dard here a few
Yeah.
years ago on TV, and now you've got Bada Naam Karenge on Sony Live. So I think the sort of ventures you've done, I think there's always been a good purity and good intentions, which is why I think it's always paid off. But no, I'm very excited to see the series, and I think congratulations to both of you for this wonderful initiative. And I think we're so fortunate that we are still living in this time that we get to at least experience the Rajshri magic with stories that are very rooted in today's day and time. So thank you so much, Suraj, and thank you so much, Palash, sir. It's been so wonderful to have you both, and look forward to seeing the series, and can't wait to see more collaborations in the future.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.